As the game starts taking us higher, feeling strong, no time to tire. Living dreams like our own empire. Moving fast, no looking back. Hearts on track, never slack. Hand in hand, we got the knack. Together we light up the black. Love and passion fuel our flame. In this world we stake our claim. Two hearts beating just the same. We've got it all, never tame.
Good day, all you dreamers, keepers, and reptile enthusiasts. It's your boy, the conductor from Sky High Morphs, rolling with the Show Me Reptile show. So you guys know how it usually works. We're going to go ahead and give our shout outs to everybody out in the comment and then roll a couple sponsorship videos, and then we'll bring out our guests. So who we have out in the comment tonight? We have the Wifey. Thank you for tuning in, Wifey. Then we have Wayne from Kryptonite Dreams. Thank you for tuning in. We also have the boss man himself. Thank you for coming out tonight. Right now, it looks like that's everybody that has commented. As you guys comment, I will pull them up on stage. With that, I'm going to go ahead and roll a couple of sponsorship videos. Oh man, I tell you what, that Show Me Marketplace video always gets me hyped up, especially with that new app that's in the works. You guys most definitely want to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that, because we do have a Show Me Marketplace app in development. With that, I am going to go ahead and bring out our guest. You guys might know who he is. Some of you might not, but this is Adam from Proper Royals. Adam, thank you for coming out.
What's going on? Thank you for having me, Brian. I appreciate it. That's nice of you to make I got my own like little entrance. That's cool.
Yeah. I do something a little bit special for the guests, and like I said, I greatly appreciate it, especially with how far out we booked this episode. I think we booked this back in January.
Yes, it was. I don't know. It was a long time. I didn't write down what I put it on the calendar, but I have my office calendar, and it was there. But yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad that you're. It's kudos to you. It's and you've seen now, but it's really hard to keep going on a regular basis for 6 months or however long. So nice job, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, for everybody out there that might not know who Adam and Proper Royals is, can you give them a little bit of a breakdown of who you are and what the name means to you?
Yeah. Thanks. And thanks for asking that too. So my name's Adam. I'm the breeder here. I only deal in ball pythons, and then I do breed some rodents as well under the Proper Rodents banner, which is just ASFs. So I live in Minnesota now. I started in North Carolina, moved back to Florida for a little while, and then moved with my wife and son here to Minnesota. And this is about 5 years that I've been at it. And so that's the ball python part of it. And then I do have a podcast called Proper Royals Live on Tuesday nights at 8:00. And I don't know, that's been great. It's a great community there. I hope you'll come hang out. We're coming up on 4-year anniversary of that show. So I'm really thankful for the community. And just like I said, it's hard to go 3, 4, 5 months at something, much less years. So That's me.
So doing the podcast for 4 years, what are some of the key things that you have learned that makes the podcast successful?
I know it's cheesy to say, but like, just keep doing it. Just keep showing up. Don't quit. What I've learned is that you don't realize in the moment what you're learning. Like even if there's, low viewership, it's an opportunity to practice your chops or practice interviewing people or practice how to figure out how to get your replay views up. Like these days, there's so many podcasts and life is so busy and there's like so much media. It's hard for people to tune in live because there's just other things. There's just other distractions. So, a big part of it for me was figuring out, all right, how do I make it compelling to get the views and the replays? It doesn't really matter when I reach people. I like there to be an active audience, but I really like there to be content that people appreciate and learn from, So that's really kind of what I've learned. The world's going to change. There's going to be other podcasters that come up. And I think everybody should, if you think it speaks to you and you think it's something you can do or want to do, you should go do it. Like it's an amazing time to reach people and communities and customers for that matter.
Most definitely. And for our, how should I put it? So is there anything that you do special or out of the ordinary to set your podcast apart from all the other podcasts that are out there?
Yes and no. So and I don't want this to sound snobby because I don't mean it that way. And anybody who knows me knows that I just want to work hard and go do the thing.
Absolutely.
But I just make sure that I keep doing the thing. Like I don't miss a show. I don't, if I don't have a guest or I can't get it booked, I do the show myself. I figure out how to, I treat it like work. And I'm not saying that should be everybody. That's for me. Like I'm trying to make a living at this. So, it has to be work. And we all know there's days we don't want to go to work. There's days we don't want to get up out of bed and go do it. But I do hit it with that mindset, and I just don't give myself permission to miss it. And it's amazing. Again, I know it's cheesy and basic to say, but the results that happen when you just show up and go do the work are really, really amazing, especially over a long period of time. So, I guess more specific to your question, I try and always make sure that there's a guest that I have some kind of background or interaction with, or I've met, or I've done business with, or I was impressed with something they did, some sort of curiosity that I have to dig in and find out an answer about. And then that becomes kind of like a deliverable content for the audience.
Right. Now, I'm going to switch gears a little bit away from the podcast. because I was doing my research on and that, and I noticed that you just got done with your AFS facility. Did you want to kind of go into that a little bit, and what was the idea behind that?
Well, the idea, oh my goodness, we could probably make almost a whole episode on it. Here's sort of like the condensed version. There's a really good opportunity in rodents. So we all know the ball python market can be challenging. There's ups, there's downs, there's a seasonality to it. But part of the problem is when your season's really high, i.e. all your hatchlings are coming, so is everybody else's. So when you have your most amazing stuff, the market is at its toughest from a competition standpoint, not to mention from are people spending money or doing anything standpoint. So rodents kind of level that out. There's no seasonality to people needing rodents. There's a little bit. Yeah, they need hoppers instead of mediums and larges when the hatchlings come. But what I'm saying is everybody needs to feed their snakes. So the ASFs became a really good opportunity for me. And I learned on a small scale here in my shed, and I was kind of maxed out between what I was using and what I was selling. I couldn't keep up with customers' requests. So I also knew I'd gotten to a point where, and I'm lucky to say this, I'm thankful to say this, my snake operation has gotten big enough where I really need to get it out of the house. I'm coming into an issue where I can't get insurance for the business because it's in my home, and God forbid a fire happens here in the house. I'm still in my basement in here right now. God forbid a fire happens in here and we call in our home insurance, and the home inspector or the fire inspector goes, well, it started in this room with these industrial snake racks, and then, oh, let's Google Adam. Oh, he runs an industrial snake, commercial snake operation out of his house. They're not going to cover that. And it's too much to lose. That, and I needed to expand, and I wanted to expand, and again, pushing the business, growing the business. So I started looking for a commercial space. I'm in Minnesota. The winters are brutal. There's two things that I've always wanted. One was in-floor drains, so I can scrub my floor and clean the facility like I did in kitchens for my career. But the other thing in Minnesota that you want is in-floor heat. It's an industrial kind of commercial standard. All the factories, all the production facilities, they all have the indoor heat. So the heat radiates from the floor. And it's very efficient because it's water pipes that heat it, and they go to a boiler and just circulate. And I guess there's probably glycol in it instead of just water, but you get the idea. So the only building that I found that had all that was actually a car wash. It's an old school car wash that you drive in and then you get your power sprayer. Yeah. So basically it's crazy, but it's 4 pressure washers and a pump room. And they go to the bays, and then it mixes the soap and the wax and the add-ons that you can have. So I converted one of the bays into a reptile and a rodent facility. So the car wash is operational. That has some revenue coming in, and that actually pays for its own mortgage. And then that other bay is now, the rodents have moved in. The renovation and the conversion is complete. It's now, this is the first really hot spell. It got to 94 here in Minnesota. What happens when it's 94 degrees outside? I don't know. I got to find out what the room can handle. So I've been monitoring temperatures. I've been making adjustments. The first thing I did when I woke up this morning was seal the door, put the weather stripping around it. I didn't think I needed that till wintertime here, but I needed it now. So I'm learning that stuff, but the rodents are in. That'll let me at least triple production in there, if not get creative. It's got 10-foot high ceilings, so I can build shelving way higher than what was in the little shed, and so I'm excited about that. I've expanded the colonies, but to get really nerdy about rodent breeding, just to get really nerdy about rodent breeding, the ASFs only produce like really fruitfully for about 6 months. Okay. So I don't want to triple production all at once, because if it's June right now, that means in December, those will all have to be replaced. Right. And then it takes time for them to get going again. So you have to kind of stagger it. So really roughly, whatever I intend to expand, I've sort of broken into groups of 6, and
Okay.
each month I'll expand 1/6 so that I always have really strong producing females.
Right. Now, approximately how long did it take you to get the facility done and up and running?
Right at 6 months. I bought it December 4th, and the rodents have been in for about 2 weeks. So it wasn't quite 6 months to the day, but it was 6 months, which I have to admit, I thought it would be sooner. So in one way, I look at it and I'm like, man, it's here. It's really cool. And in other ways, I'm like, man, that took forever. That was a long time. I thought I would be, halfway through
Right.
tripling production already. It's a little bit of both. It can't be too tough on ourselves, but on the other hand, like pushing with high expectations is important too.
Right, right. Now, on a financial aspect, what exactly goes into building something like that?
That's a really good question. And those of y'all that haven't seen my show before, I try and be really transparent on finances and cost management. So my background was in restaurants, notoriously famous for having very slim margins. So watching costs is really something I've done for decades now. But so I wrote a budget. I had planned to spend. On the financing part, and this, again, I say this stuff with really thanks and humility, but I set aside $30,000 from the financing to renovate the place.
Right.
And my goal was to spend around 22 and then have 8,000 in the bank for problems, operating costs. And if nothing arose, then the plan was, after 1 year of having that 8,000 in the bank, was to just go ahead and pay it back to the bank and pay down the balance.
Right.
If I saw that I was, you really kind of need a full year, especially in a harsh or really wild swings of weather like we have in Minnesota seasonally, to see really what everything's made of. So, but let's see. So I'll try and go as quick as I can. So I gutted the one bay of the car wash, so took down the sprayer and all of that. Then the front garage door, we took that out and we walled that off. So that's walled off. That's the front door. You walk in there. The floor, we put in epoxy over the concrete. And again, there's a big in-floor drain, but the whole floor is actually sloped. So if there ever is a flood in the rodents, all the water will flow straight to the drain, which is really kind of another nice safety insurance net on that. I should never have any sheetrock or wall damage or anything. Then we framed the outer, well, I say the inside of the outer walls. We framed those 3 inches of spray foam, insulation on that. That was really the single biggest cost. That was $7,000 to get done. I got what's called closed cell, so it's both waterproof and it's extremely high R rating. Again, for the Minnesota winters and the temperature accuracy that we want to see in a reptile facility. Then the sheetrock went up. Got all that. You got a mud, tape, sheetrock, all that. And I actually hired out the mudding and the taping and the sanding. Myself and a friend, we hung the sheetrock ourselves, did the ceiling, then had to get the electrical in there. In a commercial zone in Minnesota, you have to use licensed contractors for electrical.
Right.
So I got the electrician in to run my main circuits. I will say, after the fact, I took care of surface mount outlets myself, but to get the certificate of occupancy, we had to get that taken care of. And it wasn't cheap. I mean, I realized the electrical contractors, they got to charge and they have to make a living and all that. But
yeah, they can be an arm and a leg.
Yeah. Especially I'd done some electrical work when I was growing up. That was my very, very first job I did was working as an electrician after Hurricane Andrew, just a job site helper. Yeah. Down in Florida. So like adding outlets, running circuits, it didn't really bother me, but I couldn't get the inspector to pass me.
Right.
So that was a fair amount of money. And then the inspector said, and this really is kind of frustrating, but it just happened. But the inspector said I needed something called an air exchanger. It's an efficiency appliance that's supposed to preserve, when you're bringing in fresh air into a building, again, in the winter, you don't want to be bringing 10-degree air into a facility that's heated, and not to mention heated to where we need it. And so you have this air exchanger, and it tempers the air, and it's supposed to make things more efficient and all of that. That was $6,000. And I fought it, man. I fought it through the statutes. I fought it through the contractor who thought it was overkill. And sometimes you can't win against the inspectors. So that was unforeseen. That put me over budget. I did not intend to spend $6,000 on that. So that was a real problem. And I know you guys are going, this guy's talking about 30 grand and 7 grand and 6 grand. Like, I planned, I had it financed. I figured out, I'd saved a whole lot. This is a culmination of 5 years of work, not, hey, I got a bunch of money, let me just jump into ball pythons. Right. So, that's kind of blood money. 6 grand was painful. And to this day, I don't really know what that thing does very well, but I had to have it. So did that. Then I built a room divider so that I have a ASF side and a reptile side. And I got one of those big exhaust, like a grow house, greenhouse exhaust fan system.
Yep.
Yeah, and it works amazing. It keeps the dust way down. So I have fans on the ground that kick up the rodent dust and debris, and then that thing, 500 CFM, that thing exhausts it right out the side of the building, which is great, into the prairie air where the wind is ripping off of the cornfields, and so that's mostly it. And I moved the racks and stuff in not too long ago. Oh, and I did the plumbing. Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
And I was going to say, I noticed in one of your videos that I watched earlier this week it was earlier this week, that you couldn't get that restaurant out of you, could you? Because I noticed you use those little plastic things in the doorways that helps with that air exchange going back and forth in the head. So
it is, yeah. I stole a lot of ideas from the restaurant. To what you're talking about, yeah, they're the plastic curtains that are on walk-in coolers.
Yes.
And ideally the snakes are actually going to be a little bit warmer than the ASFs, but the ASFs put off so much body heat that it really heats that area. But I actually have an allergy to rodents, ironically enough, what we were talking about earlier. So I really wanted them. I really wanted to keep a separation, and I didn't want that rodent dust all over my whole facility. Right. I didn't want my snakes going bonkers being in the same facility as the rodents, which they probably will still, but I'm moving and exhausting a ton of air out of there. And they don't smell. I haven't smelled it outside. But those walk-in plastic curtains really, really make a difference. And I know which video you're talking about. If you listen really closely, when I walk through it, once I walk into the curtains, it gets much noisier in the background. It actually stops the sound of the fans and the hum and all of that coming out as well.
Yeah, awesome. Because I did watch that video, and I was watching it, looking at it like, you can't take the restaurant out of Adam.
That's right, man. But if you look too, all my storage is up off the ground. That's an old kitchen thing. You got to be 6 inches off the ground so you can clean and squeegee. So all of it's off the ground, which I like for cleaning, but also if you have an escapee of a rodent, we all know, man,
it a lot easier.
That's right. You're going to hunt it right down, grab it, and you're not going to get the damage or the infestation. The other thing I love was the 5-gallon buckets. All the food is portioned. I know how much inventory I have of food or supplies at any given time. They're all in the buckets and labeled like we would do in the kitchen as well.
Now, I want to go into a little bit of your breeding now. Now, you were always a big fan of the clown, but I've been noticing you've been working a lot more clown projects lately. Is there a reason behind that?
Some of it, I do like clown. I think it's incredibly versatile. I think it looks cool, and I think there's still a huge amount to offer. So there's always that balance of like, oh, is it overworked? Everybody's working it. Well, if everybody's working it, it's because it's amazing. Like it's a, so it's like saying, oh, I don't like the color red. Everybody uses red. Well, it's because it's undefeated. It's amazing. It's fine. So, yeah, I like clown, but very, very specifically, I really love super gravel. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, I saw a super gravel and I was like, that's a stunning animal. What is it? And then I look into it and it's one super form of one gene. And I was always really inspired by John Daig he does everything through the lens of a xanthic. And so he can work clown, he can work pied, he can work ultramel, whatever he wants, but it's all working to get it into his axanthic project. And as I looked into super gravel, first I loved it. It never faded. It never stopped, or it never got boring to me. Then I started looking, and there's really not been that much done with it. There's a handful of ultramels that guys like Chris Hernan have made, which is beautiful. Yes, I don't know. I'm sorry, I take it back. I have seen super gravel axanthic, but it's just a handful of one or two people working it. So I really thought there was a wide open lane to get really, really, I already was excited about it. And I was like, you know what? I can really, I can actually make a difference and a splash. So I started accumulating as many super gravels as I could. I started breeding them, holding back the visuals. Well, right at Tinley, I bought a male super gravel clown, which I think is an amazing base kind of to jump off of. And again, not much has been done with it. We've seen Enchi super gravel clown, leopard super gravel clown, pastel super gravel clown, and that's about it. So you think of all the crazy clown combos, you think of the amazing overworked powerhouse males that you could get from people dumping stuff that are like, oh, male clowns aren't worth anything anymore. And I can run those right into my super gravel project. So I've really been thinking along those lines and looking for those opportunities. And it's exciting to me. It's just, it's so fun, you know?
Now, is that super gravel something that you think you're going to work into your candy project? And I also noticed you are working rainbow. Am I correct?
Yeah. I have a rainbow, and now sometimes like I set out with a plan, and other times nice opportunities float down the river. I don't know if you've noticed, doing these shows gives you a great opportunity to meet and connect. And it's not just a comment in Instagram. It's not just a Facebook like we get to know each other. We talk, we connect, and we think about things. And maybe you go, damn, maybe I want a super gravel one day. And there's a breeder that I've worked with in Florida. They got in touch with me and they said, hey, we, not even quite on purpose, we hit a rainbow clown. We can't believe it. I'm like, oh, not even on purpose? What are you talking about? And they said, well, and they generally breed pet stuff. To like pet store contract stuff. And they said, look, our customers, we're never going to find somebody to buy this thing for what it's worth with our, like, this is not their business model. The high end double visual world's first that they're not going to work that project. I mean, I'm talking, Petco, PetSmart type pet contracts. It's just not going to. No. You can't put a $4,000 or $10,000 price tag on some animal in a Petco. You know what I mean? So they said, we have a good relationship. If you want it, let's work out what the price is, and it can be yours. And I got to looking, and at the time I actually couldn't find any other rainbow clown that had ever been made. Since then, I forget Ted Thompson at Susquehanna Morphs or Susquehanna Exotics or Reptiles. He has produced one other one. He hit one in the very same year. So it's one of, one or two in the world, but actually shout out to
No, go
What's
ahead. Go ahead. I
yeah.
was going to say, what an opportunity to fall onto your lap.
Right. So that was another clown opportunity that came up. And it did. It fell into my lap. I can't take credit. I didn't do anything for it. I just had a good relationship, and they got in touch with me out of the blue. But I called Chris at BNS Reptilia. He's been a really good friend. He and I vend together at Tinley in October. The October shows, he always vends with me. And he's just got a lot of experience. And I just said, hey, Chris, what do you think of this project? What do you think of this price? This would be a lot. This would be more than I typically spend on a snake. But I feel like the path is wide open, and we'd be at, I'm at the forefront if I were to acquire this. And he said, I like it so much that if it made you feel better, I'd go in on it with you. And I said, oh, okay, there you go. Like, that it's a good feedback when somebody's willing to put their money where their mouth is. And I don't have trouble like with business partnerships. It's such a flip of the coin of whether they go well or they don't. But Chris has been an absolute gem, and ace. We've worked together on business as him as a advertising partner, and then like we vend together at Tinley, but I consider him a partner on that. In my mind, we own that space together. So anyway, when he said that, I said, you know what, let's do that. Let's make that work together. So that's how we came across the Rainbow project. And then, of course, the people I bought it from are really good salespeople. They know what they're doing. They said, well, we have all of the siblings that are at least 66% het rainbow. And I said, all right, give me the females.
Right.
And then like 3 weeks later, they called me and they said, oh, we have this other clutch, and these are all pieds, and those are 66% het rainbows as well. And they had a 2.2. I said, all right, give me those. So it's all 66%. I'm going to have to test them out. The rainbow test is not complete yet. I know Charlie at Shed Testing is working on it. I'm sending him my rainbow tests or my sheds from the Visual Girl to develop the test, but we don't have the test yet. So it's still a little bit of the old school prove out method.
Right. Now, what direction do you plan on taking the Rainbow project?
I don't know. That's the overwhelming thing, and something I've kind of done. Like, it's hard because we always want to envision like where we're going, and we set goals and have visions, and that's important to do. But I really don't make the decisions until I really have to, because the market changes and opportunities come, and maybe there'll be a banging, male clown that I can use to really get a whole bunch of codoms in there. Or who knows, maybe somebody goes, look at them. I don't know. We have a good relationship, and I'm working this rainbow thing, and you need the male, and I go the rainbow route and get het clowns instead of clowns het rainbows. But most likely I'll start. I'll put it to a super gravel clown male is probably what'll happen. Like if I really stick by, I want to be known for something. What am I really doing? Like that should be the default. Now, if I've already got him, if I go through the process and he's slated to go to 20 females, then I got to start cutting down things and looking at option B, because I'm not going to wear out the males. But Chris has a lot to say on that one. And I don't know, Chris might call and go, hey man, I got the male. Hey, let's do this one. And I might go, yeah, send him over. Let's, or I'll send you the female, whatever it is. So we've got at least a year to figure that out. She was a year old in April. So she's 14 months. Spring, summer next year, we'll start really thinking about it. And it probably won't breed her until another 14 months, fall of 2026, I would say.
That's going to be exciting clutches right there coming out of her.
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, we'll see where it goes. It's in some ways like it's right around the corner. In other ways, it's such a long period of time away. Like, I don't know what a year and a half from now is going to look like. If you told me a year and a half ago I was going to have a car wash that I was breeding rodents in, I'd be like, where are you partying at? Like, how do I get in on that? So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right, right. Now, we're going to switch gears again.
Okay.
'Cause not only have you been doing a lot of restaurant stuff in your past career, but you also done a lot of music stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Now, what kind of music did you used to play, or and do you still play?
Yeah, I still play. I got a gig a week from right now, a week from today, at for all you locals in Minnesota, Egan, Minnesota, which is just a suburb of Minneapolis. But Egan Arms Pub, I'll be there at 5:30 to 9 next Saturday. So largely, I play Irish pub music, but I love like Americana singer-songwriter stuff. And then I also love punk rock. So it's kind of a nice mix, but usually my gigs are just me and a guitar and one, maybe two other people. So like that gig next weekend, I'll have a fiddle player with me. It's just me on guitar singing and then a fiddle player playing with me. So we get the energy of musicians interacting, but it's not a full band. It's a little bit easier from a interpersonal standpoint. You don't have 5 or 4 egos to manage and space, and
Right,
you don't
right.
need a trailer and a band van and all that. You just show up, plug in, play, get out of there, get paid, so it's that's what I do. But yeah, that's this week.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, how long have you been doing the music career?
um uh, I think my first like gig I think was 98, maybe 99, but I've been playing since I was 14. So that 31 years I've been at that. So, but performing and playing professionally at least 26, 27 years, something like that.
Wow. And that's not a lot of, or that's not something a lot of people know about you.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and I also know that you do a lot of music reviews with Chris Eaton as well, don't you?
We do. So we have a Patreon only show that we do together. And it's called The Pawn Shop, which is not so much these days. Like when eBay came around and Craigslist came around, it kind of killed it. But it used to be you walk into a pawn shop and that was as good a place as any to buy a guitar, because as people
Right.
might know, musicians earned a reputation for some bad decisions and they might need some money on short notice, and guitars aren't cheap. And you could buy really great guitars in a pawn shop. Matter of fact, my very first electric guitar was a 1972 Gibson SG, and we
Nice.
found it in a pawn shop in Tampa. My dad and I think I was like, I've been playing since I was 14, and when he saw I was getting kind of serious, he's like, let's get you an electric guitar, and we went to the pawn shop. So, but yeah, we review music. Chris, I think people know more about him than me musically, but we both have played music professionally and have some experience of touring, and him far more than me. But we listen to, and then we talk about a particular song per episode, either why we like it, what the band's doing, what stands out to us. Maybe we worked with that band, one of us in our past lives, all of that stuff. And we tell some stories and that kind of thing. But that's Patreon only content, mine and his Patreon.
Right. Right. Now, what is your most memorable moment of doing a gig, and what is your favorite gig doing?
We got so I say we in Jacksonville. It's funny. The main guy, there's a guy named Spade McQuaid, and I played in his band, and Spade McQuaid was the name of the band, and it was the name of the guy. And he always joked that we weren't a band; we were just a bunch of musicians that got together because he doesn't want the band drama. So he never called it a band. But there was a time when there was 6, maybe 7 of us that were playing at the same time. And for about a year and a half, 2 years, we had that lineup, and it genuinely was really good. It was really outstanding. So when any of like the Irish bands or Irish theme stuff would come through town, we get the call to open or go do the support slot. And so most notably, we got to open a couple times for Fog and Molly and hang out with those guys and be on the big stage with them. And those guys are just gems, man. They're really they're nice people. They're really nice guys. They hang out. They're kind, just down to earth, talking guitars and gear. And just having a really good time. So they were really special. That's probably my favorite gig that we did, was opening for them in Jacksonville. So we got to be in front of all our friends and family, opening for them for a really big outdoor crowd. But we got to play with, really cool bands in that genre, the Tossers, Black 47, just really some of the icons of that genre. So that's been really cool. And Spade had toured in the past with people like Steve Earle, Joe Cocker, Van Morrison. So when those guys came to town, usually he'd call me and be like, "Hey, you want to go hang out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yes, I do want to go hang out."
Yeah.
So I've gotten to meet some cool people. We never played or performed with those guys, but I've gotten to hang out and be taught some things and talk to some things with some real people that I look up to and respect.
No, that's actually really awesome. And it reminds me a lot of the reptile community and just
Right.
that unity and friendship and that bonding and that. So what is the furthest gig that you've performed at away from your home?
Oh, good question. Well, so Spade's based in Jacksonville, Florida. So that was all down there. But we would tour up to like North Carolina and Tennessee, and then back down through. So we'd stay regional there. When I was living in North Carolina, there's a band, shout out to these guys, called the Peelers, out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And they would tour the Southeast United States in January or February each year. And they generally would drive down to my house in North Carolina and they would use my basement as their like practice and regional base area. And then I would open for them, which seemed really cool until I thought, here's a 6-piece Irish punk band and I'm playing solo acoustic to open for them. What have I signed up for here? But, so we would I would do like 10-day tours with them.
Right.
From North Carolina. We play all the way down to South Florida, all the way down to Punta Gorda, and then play our way back up north, back to North Carolina, and then they'd head home up to Montreal. So I think and then shout out to Jeremy Warfel. I played his summer cookout the past 2 years in Pennsylvania. So that actually was quite a trek. I was in Florida the first year, and I was in Minnesota the second year. And that actually is kind of an undertaking to fly in, go find the equipment to rent locally. I don't fly in with a PA system or anything. And Jeremy doesn't have a stage in his backyard. So we made it work. And those, I think their cookout is today. I think it's right now this year. Right. So I didn't make it this year. But that's a great scene if you guys ever get a chance to go to Jeremy's barbecues.
And yeah, usually those barbecues are more smaller too, aren't they? More tight knit people. Or
yeah, there was probably 100 people the first year. It was somehow he manages to pick the hottest weekends of the year, and even in Pennsylvania, man, it was hot. Like last year was the hottest I'd ever played outdoors in a gig. But so there was a little bit less last year just because it was so hot. But I think he got I know that he moved. It was always at his house. I think he moved and actually like got rented a venue of some sort this year to combat the heat. So I hope it was a huge turnout. It's a great feeling of camaraderie and great people there for sure.
Right. Now I have one more question for you, and then I was going to see if you wanted to show off any of your animals that you have available.
Okay.
But last question usually is a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun. So if you had the opportunity, somebody told you, "Hey, I'll give you $100 million or $100,000, but the only catch is you can't spend it on anything reptile related or anything music related." What would you spend that money on?
Oh, I'd travel, man. I'd take my family. I'd get my friends. I think I've just become the old dude, but like just memories and experiences are special to me now. I don't, as long as my truck runs, I'm not really a car guy. Like I have zero desire to drop 50 or 70 or 100 in this case, thousands of dollars on a vehicle. I just get my friends together. We go, I don't know. The only problem with traveling is that when I find a beautiful place, I just want to keep going back there. And I have to realize that there's amazing places everywhere in the world. So I don't know. We try somewhere new. Maybe Europe's kind of easy. Like I want to go to Europe. I haven't been, but I really want to go to I have a really good friend from Thailand, and the city scene in Bangkok, it's like the Asian city that never sleeps, the street food, the bodegas, the life, the nightlife, the daylight. Man, I would call up my buddy, and his name is Jay. I'd be like, Jay, I need you to lead the trip to Thailand, and we're going to bring 5 people, and we're going to go just kill it in Bangkok or whatever. So I don't know. I would travel though. I'd go experience, and I'd spend time with family and friends.
Nice. Now, like I was saying, do you have any animals that you have available that you would like to show off to the public?
Yeah, I didn't think too much about it. And Brian, I apologize. I fed today. So the ones that eat live, I fed. The ones that are on frozen thawed, I could show off. Dang.
Well, could you just name off a couple? I mean, you don't have to show them off if they just got done eating. We don't need no stress on them.
Yeah, I don't want any regurgitation or anything. So we've got right now is kind of that time where the 2024s are. I'm still sifting through the leftovers of 2024, and the 2025s are coming. So I did just have a clutch hatch of mahogany, leopard, orange dream clowns, and those look fantastic. And it's funny, like perceptions. There's a guy here that's been breeding for 35 years locally to me, and he's become a good friend and kind of a mentor. And I got some help identifying that clutch from him. And it was funny because I asked him, I said, hey, do you know anything about mahogany? And he's like, yeah, I was one of the very first people to ever work with mahogany. And he referred to it as an old gene. And I was like, I thought it was kind of cool that not much has been done.
Right.
And he had kind of a good bit of wisdom, but he said, man, everybody just chases trends so fast that you forget about these cool opportunities. And I think the dark brown, really clean head that mahogany has in clown is just gorgeous. Yes. And then the contrast later. So anyway, I love those. I haven't sexed them yet. I got 7 of those, and I think I have 1 normal clown, but otherwise they're all either orange dream leopard, orange dream mahogany. I don't think I got a leopard mahogany, although I might have. And then I think I hit 1 all gene, which will be a holdback, whether it's a male or a female. I'll hold that one back. But I'll have those coming up available soon. And then let's see. Oh, I've got some shed tests out for Charlie at shedtesting.com. And those are actually from 2024's clown ultramel project stuff that I was working. I hit 5 double visual clown ultramels last year, which is really, thank you, man. That was one of those goofy moments where you're just like, oh, the hard work does pay off. Look at I was losing it, man. I was like, I can't believe this. But in there, I hit some super enchy clowns that are possible head ultramel. And it just always seems like I either forget that I need the shed, or the shed gets ruined because they poo so bad all over it. And when I found that if I don't stick to my cleaning cycles and my chore cycles, everything gets screwed up at this at this stage of scale of volume. It's kind of like, again, I go back to the restaurant. There's days that we prep this because we need it at this day, and you do those things in the right order. But what happens, so I clean my room twice a week, top to bottom, but I, short of just something catastrophic or their water being totally soiled, I don't clean otherwise. I dedicate Mondays and Thursdays to cleaning, and if it takes me 12 hours, I clean top to bottom. That's fine. But I don't allow myself just every time I see a urate to be like, oh, got to stop what I'm doing. It'll throw things off. So I say all that because sometimes the sheds get ruined, especially in the hatchlings that I keep on paper towels. If they pee or if they flip their water bowl, it ruins the shed for testing. So, but I've got 4 of those out right now. So those will be for sale. I just don't know if they're het ultramel, which will be a different price point, or if they'll be just really cool looking super inchy clowns, which are really powerful, man. Like even just inchy, knowing that you're not going to have any normals and knowing that you can, provide those visual results is really important.
And Enchi and Leopard, just those two codoms, period, together are amazing combination. It's amazing.
Yeah, right.
Then you throw that clown in there with it. Oh man.
Yeah, it's cool. So I've got some of those coming, but really I'm at the point right now where it's like I've got pet stuff. I still have lots of pieds. I've got banana pieds. I still love banana. I work banana a lot. I know people roll their eyes at it, but it gets people into the game. If you want a stunning looking pet snake, what literally could be better than banana or pied just to turn people's heads when you're showing your friends your pet snake,
It really is. It really is. And I will say banana and the pie gene, both of those genes alone are beautiful animals. And I think that's what draws a lot of people into the industry. I know pied is what draws me into breeding.
Right.
And, because who doesn't love a white snake with a little dash of color?
I mean, it's the highest, like when I'm thinking of breeding projects, I think of color, contrast, and pattern. Yeah. So contrast, pied's undefeated, man. It's white on pattern. That is the classic contrast that you can't beat. You could still get a pretty wide range of colors in pied. Pattern's a little tougher in pied. Pattern gets scattered and kind of smeared in pied, but 2 out of 3 off the charts is pretty hard to beat.
Right. All right. So with that being said, how can people get a hold of you or reach out to you if they did want to purchase one of your animals? And where's the next show that you're going to be vending?
Thank you. Properroyals.com is always the most up to date. I am on Morph Market, but I'm a really big believer in kind of selling certain animals to certain audiences. So Morph Market is more like breeder stuff or high-end stuff. Because frankly, I get really beat up and beat down on prices if it's not the highest end stuff. Right. So I have listings at Morph Market, and I'll have more as the season goes on and the higher end stuff comes out. But properroyals.com has everything, no space, just one word, no underscore, none of that. And that stays pretty much always up to date on the for sale there. And then I would say to follow on Instagram too. A lot of the hatchlings get sold off of Instagram. I know we're not technically allowed to sell on Instagram, but if you post a baby and it's a whole clutch, we all know that generally whole clutches aren't holdbacks. Hey, Adam, is that going to be for sale? Yeah, let's talk about it. Boom, it sells. So I generally post on Instagram. Patreon gets first dibs on all the babies. So Patreon members get first dibs, and Patreon fees build store credit in my Patreon. So they get first dibs. Then I post them on Instagram. And then if I have to go through posting on Morph Market, I will. If it makes sense, if it's a male banana pied, I'm probably not going to put it on Morph Market. I'm going to take it to a show. Somebody's going to fall in love with it at the show, and we're going to make the sale there. And I'm going to know somebody locally or regionally now. The next show is, I think it's July 13th. It's mid-July in Des Moines. That's the Cold-Blooded Expos show in Des Moines, Iowa. It's a good show. It's not huge. It's fairly small, but it's done well. It's in the Doubletree Hotel, and always has really good breeders. Like MBK Pythons is usually there. Schumann and Sons is there. Tim Simon, he goes by Simon T Reptiles. He's there. So there's some really good breeders that show up at that show. So I'll be there in July. August, I'll be at the not Show Me. I'm looking at the screen. Snake Discovery show. Okay. Here locally. They do it in 2 locations, and both of them are border towns of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I can't remember if it's on the Minnesota side or the Wisconsin side, but that's the Snake Discovery show. And then September, I start going a little crazy. September and October, I think I do 7 shows in like 42 days or something. So I'll be out there from Fargo, North Dakota, all the way to Tinley in those 6-7 weeks for 7 shows.
Now, are you doing Schaumburg this year?
No, I'm not vending for sure. I may or may not go to hang out. I did go last summer, and I have to say the show is good. It's so hard when you hear NARBC and you're used to Tinley. Not everything can be Tinley. So it is a good show. It's a big show. It's very well done. Great breeders show up there. The hotel is even nicer than the Even Hotel at Tinley, and it was far more realistically priced. Man, I felt like I'm notoriously a little bit tight. Like I'll sleep in a crappy hotel to save a little bit of money when I'm out there. I stayed in the hotel at Schaumburg, and I was like, this is pretty nice, man. So I got to look at my schedule. If I'm free that weekend and I find a reason to go out there, I probably will. But I'm not sure if I'll be at Schaumburg or not.
Okay. All right. So with that, if you guys didn't catch that, if you want some of Adam's killer animals, you got to join his Patreon, guys. So do you want to shout out your Patreon link?
Yeah, if you go to Patreon, it's just search Proper Royals, and thanks for giving me the opportunity too. But it's $7 a month gets you in the door, and you get the group chat, and you get access to the whole community. And these guys do a lot of business together, and they learn from each other. I kind of try and steer the ship and moderate the conversations, but most days, I mean, there might be a few days that I don't comment anything, that the business is happening, and it's a real community of networking, connecting. For $7 a month, it's one of the best investments. Even if it's not mine, go join a Patreon. $5, $7, $10 a month, like that's a coffee at Starbucks. Skip one day of coffee and join and start networking and building a community. It's amazing. So there's the $7 one. The next tier is $35. Same benefits, except your $35 turns to store credit. I eat the Patreon fees and you get store credit. So it from a business standpoint, it helps me with cash flow. I kind of get the money up front. I had somebody very recently, I had an animal for $650, and they said, does my store credit work? I said, of course. They said, all right, send it. Send them their animal. That's it. So store credit builds that way. And then there is a top tier that's $100 a month, and we do a one-on-one consultation each month, go over numbers or whatever you want to work on. If you, like Brian, if you said, hey, I want to really work on, you talked about replays on, longevity of viewership on the episodes. How do we do that? What's the plan? We could work on something like that. Or if you wanted to work on budgeting or cost reduction or whatever projects you want, that's $100 a month, but also the 100 turns into store credit too. And I eat all the fees. So that's, you put 100 in, you get 100 back.
Yeah. Very well worth it.
Yeah.
And then also don't forget to tune into the Proper Cup of Joe. And what time is that on?
That is 7:30 Eastern time on Thursday mornings. The premise on that is that there's a guy that has reptiles, and he has a really good friend that does not have reptiles, who has a whole lot of questions about what in the world Adam is doing. So it's like that thing that happens to all of us when we go to like Thanksgiving dinner and everybody's like, oh, so you're breeding reptiles. And then those conversations. And I was like, that's a show, man. That's something we can all relate to in this community and that we've all been through.
And it's a great time to have it on too, because you don't get so much of the other competition with all the other reptile shows during that time frame. Yeah.
And it's its own, I really can't stand the word vibe, but it genuinely is its own vibe. It's not showing off snakes. It's not the real geeky, well, if I do a heck to this and percentage this, because like Joe's not going to, Joe doesn't care about that. It's going to be over his head. And then, so it's a little bit of life. We're good old buddies. It's a little bit of pop culture, just what we're into. But then he always has like, wait a minute, there's reptile shows, or they live in these enclosures, but whatever those questions are that people that don't have reptiles always have, we always dig into that. So that's Thursday morning, 7:30 Eastern time.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. And remember, guys, with hard work, determination, and positivity, your dreams too can become a reality. Until next time.
Well, Brian, don't cut it yet. If it's okay, it's your show.
Go ahead.
But I got to give you, first off, I'm so glad, like I said at the beginning, but I'm so glad you're still going. Keep going, man. I think you got your own thing going here. The other thing, really great job on the show prep, man. It's hard. I know it's hard to prep every guest every time. And just as somebody who takes pride in doing that, you asked what's something I do to differentiate. I do the work. I put a lot of work in. It's not just, hey, we'll show up and goof off and maybe he'll have something to talk about. Man, the show kept going. We burned an hour just like that. Really, really nice job. Thanks for having me, man. And keep going, man. I know that praise is hard to come by in this community sometimes. So it's noticeable and I see it. Good for you, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And until
You're
next
welcome.
time, guys, you have a great night.